You're frustrated because you're going to these realtor meetings and you're not getting business. Learn the 3 reasons why you may not be getting business from that meeting. Okay, so great stuff going on. We're going to get into that today, and gosh, we are lining up for this growth group mastermind March 3rd and 4th. We're less than a month away. We've got this beautiful cabin, it's like, I don't know, it's like 10,000 square foot, just beautiful. You're going to have just an amazing time with some tremendous loan officers that are trying to scale quickly. And this will help them do it. So if that sounds like something you want to get in on, and groundbreaking ideas, how to sell differently, how to show up differently, how to think yourself differently, how to just be the genius loan officer you can be, show up then. You also get a credit towards your membership. You come there, just a lot of good stuff. So hit up, you can, I tell you what, one slot and one slot only, we will give 25% discount. And as long as I have one seat open, you can email me directly at adam@geniusloanofficer.com, schedule a call, or you can go straight to geniusloanofficer.com and hit that scheduling link, which is probably your best way to do that. And I will personally jump on a call if you let us know that you came from the podcast because of this right here. So, all right, good stuff here coming. Just, man, we got some goodness. I know this is a frustration for so many folks. And I literally just got off a phone call with a potential genius loan officer as well. And, this is happening to this gentleman, this loan officer. That's a great loan officer, going to meetings and then not being able to generate many deals from all this activity. And this is common with a lot of folks out there. We've seen it that with people that's came into our program, people that started off the bat, and they start getting, these meetings, and then they just don't really generate what they need to, or they do classes and they don't generate. This is a common problem, and this becomes a really stressful thing, right? And a very self-judgment kind of thing, because we're doing this and we're feeling like, what am I doing wrong? Why am I not good enough? All these self-limiting thoughts start popping up because we went to these meetings, we're meeting folks, and then, we're not getting anything. And so, like, what is this is not for me. Oh man, I don't want to beg for business. All this other stuff goes through the head. And then all of a sudden you see an ad where it's like, okay, well, you never have to call anybody again. And just this attraction where everybody's just going to call you and say, please, I want to work with you as a loan officer. Then you're buying into that. And then you're going down this rabbit hole again, or you're going through the leads where you have to like dig through all these leads because somehow that's going to be better, because you're not going to feel as bad about yourself, because I'm tired of feeling bad about myself going to these meetings and then not generating. Listen, all those things, does that sound like some of the things that's been going on with you? Well, this is definitely an episode for you. Or if you think you kind of have success and you want more success out of these, let's just knock out of the way first. It's, and this is not one of the 3, but first thing's knock out of your head that you're begging for business, or you're going there and like, this is the old way of doing things and meeting people and meeting referral partners. No, this is the way you should be doing it. And let me tell you something, anybody that says otherwise, like you don't need to meet anybody, or, this is what the heck, like you should be able to get people attracted to you and never do this, is just wrong. And the highest level people, not just loan officers, like entrepreneurs that are making like millions of dollars a year, actually have outreach as well. Now, I'm not sitting here talking about you need to cold call, 40 real estate agents every Monday and say you work in your plan. That's not the same old lame-o we're going to talk about or anything like that. There's certainly a lot of ways that you can get warmer invites, and we have our money magnet system where it warms them up and you can have cooler conversations. But at the end of the day, like, you're going to meet people, right? You're going to meet, and you're going to meet them on Zoom, or you're going to try to get a coffee, depending where you're at, how comfortable people are to sitting down and in person right now. But you're going to have these meetings, and how are they going to generate to business? Because at the end of the day, you don't want to just meet people, and then it's just not paying off. It's cool to meet people, but this is going to just weigh on your mind, weigh on your heart, and it's going to be very frustrating for you, right? So let's help you with that. There's three real main reasons why that is not generating the production you want. And number one, we got to always start with the right people. Like, are we sitting down with the right people? What is the right people? Right people are people that can actually refer you business on a regular basis, not once a year, not kind of twice a year, but can each month they refer you hopefully multiple people a month. And then I can hopefully, right, generate you one deal a month. Or, so let's just say we like to start with somewhere at 10 and above buyer sides a year. So if you look at that, we're probably if somebody is sending us most all they can, then we're going to generate somewhere between 5 to hopefully 7 deals out of that 10. If we have a really tight partnership, some are going to, not be able to, get them all to you. Some are going to come pre-approved, et cetera. But let's say we get 5 out of that. So 5, and we're closing somewhere around half of those, right? We're going to get approximately 1 referral a month from that agent. So that's not bad. It's like, okay, I'm getting a referral a month. I'm getting some activity. I'm going to be able to talk to them a little bit more. So there's going to be more influence, more impressions, right? So, we all have heard this before. How many impressions does it take in the marketing world? They talk about, okay, it takes 12 to 16 impressions and all that. And there's a way to speed up impressions, by the way. We talk about that, how you can land 3 whales real quick. We have that that we've taught in our course, and it's something I've done, and speeding up those that point of being able to have more impressions. But I digress. You have to choose people that can refer you business regularly, because what's going to happen is if they can't, then when you're doing any kind of follow up, or you're going to that meeting, then you're like, oh gosh, like, I just met with them. They said they're going to send me business. It sounded really well. And now I'm not getting anything in month 1, month 2. And then you're like, oh, and then you don't ever follow up, because now you're like, well, they just don't like me. And again, we talk about how much frustration, how much it's weighing on us, how much like we're self-judging because of these things. And in reality, we just didn't pick the right people, choose the right people. And on the right people is that not only are they doing the right business, is that when we're at the meeting, of course, we're disqualifying them and making sure they're the right fit for us. And that's a right people, right? That is a right people that we want to do business with. And when we're digging into their business, the problem is, and we're going to go in deeper probably on some of this as well, and this is of course in the sales side of this, is that it's not only they're doing so many deals, like how are they doing deals? Like who is the people they're they're attracting? What's their lead system? Getting in and asking questions that are in a diagnosis mode, right, instead of a demonstration. Don't suffer from premature demonstration. I love that quote from Mike Weinberg. He's a great sales one of the sales gurus and just in sales in general. And I actually went to a outbound conference with him and Jeb Blunt, like about 3 years ago in Atlanta. And it was good. And that, I tell you what, probably more than anything that stuck out, right? Don't suffer from premature demonstration. We all know kind of how that sounds, and that's funny, but right, when we go in, we're demonstrating, then we're not diagnosing, like, is this a right person for me? Is this a right person that can send me business that is right? If they're going, okay, well, I'm doing all these renovation loans, then that's not the right person for you, maybe, because if you're not doing renovation loans. I personally had never done them and don't want to do them. And some people will go, oh my gosh, you're not doing those. I'll refer them out. for me, they clog my system more than I want. I'm not saying that they can't be easy for some people. For me, that's not what my business is at and never will be. And so I know if they're doing a lot of those, for example, then I know that may not be the partner for me. So when we're diagnosing what's going on in business, do they have enough referable deals and enough referable deals that I want to do and the right clientele and all these things? We are interviewing them, right, for this spot to be our partner, rather than, oh my gosh, we gotta sit there and just beg for business, right? So, you can be begging for business, and it sounds like you're begging for business, as we talked about. If you're begging for business, actually begging for business, please, I can do this, I can do this, rather than just, hey, is this the right person for me? Are they doing enough deals? So, are they doing 10 or more buyer sides a year? Or are they someone that's ramping up to do that or more, right? Maybe if you see someone that they're ramping up, they're new in the business, but man, this is somebody that I can tell they're going to ramp up. Perhaps you have someone like that you're going to be in business with, but in general, at least 10 or more. And do not have the pretty girl syndrome, which is, if anybody remembers when they're especially in like middle school, and there's a middle school dance, and the pretty girl, you may if you're a pretty girl, you remember this being a fact, the prettiest girl in school, and nobody would go ask the prettiest girl out, right, because they were too intimidating, right? And so for a woman, maybe the same thing for the guy. They're too intimidated to kind of talk to the guy because they're they think something, they think they're just unattainable. And we do that in business, right? So don't cut your list off. Don't go, oh my gosh, they're doing 50 buyer sides a year and I cannot talk to them. No, at least 10 or more, and then feel really empowered about, I'm having meetings with people that can refer me business. So make sure they can refer you business and make sure they're the right people for you. So number one reason why that you are not getting business from the first from the meeting, and it's not transferring to closed deals, is number one, the wrong person. That's a big one. That's a big one. You can go through this list and, man, I'm just doing everything right. It's not going to work. Number two is ding, 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 ding. You need to be an uncloser. Having the right conversations and having the skill set to have the right conversations is costing you at the meeting. So you think everything's going fine. You think, oh man, they said we're going to do some business together, and we're not listening for other cues. We're so busy trying to demonstrate, as we talked about, showing up and throwing up and doing all this demonstration, and we can do this, and oh my gosh, and we are in the 70% model, 60-70% model of demonstration, then kind of listening, and then waiting to pounce to demonstrate again. So we're demonstrating and then waiting to demonstrate basically the whole time. Then guess what? We're going to miss, and we're going to miss key things that they're going to say. We're going to miss things we could have brought out. We're going to miss conversations we could have had. We're going to miss whether we can even see again whether they're the person for us. So the number two reason why you're not transferring from the actual meeting to deals is really that lack of salesmanship and that skill set to have the right conversations. And if you're thinking, hey, how do I get there? Well, we teach that, the unclosing method, but beyond that, just right now, if you want, hey, how am I going to take action now is how do I, every time that they ask me a question, like you can just do this, every time they ask me a question, how do I quickly answer that and then get it right back on them? So if they say, hey, what's your rates? Most loan officers, and hopefully if this is you, that's great, because now you know what not to do, and now you're going to do good. So always frame it as this is a great thing. So don't look at it as, oh my gosh, I do this and this is bad. This is a great thing. We're identifying. But if you do something like this, similar to, they say, hey, what's your rates? And now you go and say, hey, you know what? On a USDA, I'm 3 percent, and I'm really good on that. And then conventional right now I'm on 3.375, and I'm really freaking phenomenal on that. And and you're going through all these scenarios, and you're talking about your pricing, and it becomes a demonstration. You've lost, right? Because we talk about blink rate, little things, body language, or blink rate is going way up because they're disinterested. They're like, oh gosh, like I just asked that, and a lot of times they don't really care. What does a or real estate agent care about the interest rate? The only thing they really care about is like the client is not going to come back to them going, what the heck, man, you sent me to somebody that's like out in left field, right? They don't want to look bad, right? They don't want to look bad. They want to look like, hey, I referred somebody to good. Doesn't necessarily mean they're sending somebody to the best rates. They just want to make sure the people taken care of, it's not in left field. So we can quickly just say something like, our rates are competitive. Like, we rarely miss a deal because of rates, and people are really taken care of. So let me ask you something. Boom, right back on them. If they have follow up, that they'll follow up and they'll say something, but they really don't care, right? Especially like, okay, they nod their head. Okay, this sounds good. We're moving on to something else. Now we're right back on them. So what we can do in these meetings to start gaining a better skill set and understanding of what people want is that diagnosis. And anytime they ask us a question, understand that it's maybe a trap, because they may just like, I don't know, I'm sitting in front of a lender. What's some things I can, what's other lenders talked about? The typical lender is going to talk about rates and services and everything else. So I'm just going to throw something out there because this is the typical things that, I've talked to lenders before about, but it may not necessarily be, and most likely is not is not what they care about. So for us, our job is to quickly answer that in a way that resonates with them, and then get it right back on them and ask them questions. So absolutely. So here's my rates, and let me ask you something, Bob. What has been some of the things that you've seen in the lending game that's has maybe caused you a little bit of a angst and not being able to close deals as smoothly as what you feel they should have? Or, hey, Bob, like, I know you're trying to grow your business. We've talked about earlier to this, like, what's been some of the things that's been roadblock to be able to go from 10 deals to 20 deals? What's been some of those roadblocks that's preventing you from doing that, right? We're talking about their business. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, one thing is this, right? So now we're having open, good dialogue. It's about them. It's focused on them, and saying, hey, you know what? Hey, I've struggled with this too. That's something I struggle with too, Bob. Man, I tell you, like, like, you seem to be really handling that well. Like, and so like, I think you've probably taken some steps already towards rectifying that. So I would love to know what you did to start that path, because that's something, honestly, I've struggled with as well. Being very vulnerable is cool. Doesn't mean you have to go there, oh my gosh, I've done everything right, and I'm the loan officer who never makes a mistake. Like, nobody wants to do business with someone that's perfect. Okay. Not a fact. It really takes down your likability factor. Nobody wants to have a know-it-all. They want you to be professional. They want you to be someone they resonate with. They want somebody that definitely knows what they're doing and can take care of a client, but they don't want to know it all. So the number two reason why you're not transferring it is really just your salesmanship and your skill set to be able to navigate that. The number three reason why you are not getting business from your meetings is your lack of follow through. So I like to really call it follow through, because you're following through. You should be having hooks inside your skill set. And the second thing we talked about with your salesmanship, the hooks to have additional conversations. Reason to follow through. It shouldn't be just, hey, we work or play. Like, I'm specifically going and campaigning. We talked about this on another podcast. If you haven't heard that one, campaigning and there's campaigning, and then there's just promoting, right? You do not want to be a promoter. You don't want to go back and say, hey, God, by the way, I do this again. I do this. And it's the same thing over and over. And hey, you got to lead, you got to lead, you got to lead, you got to lead, you got to lead. Like it's not that we can't ask for that, or we can't, move that along to where we're having those conversations. But if, for example, if you do have a program that is specific, and you may wait for later to have this fall through and talk about it again. Hey, Bob, gosh, I loved our conversation. By the way, we have this program that's this. So like, you can talk about programs some, but it needs to be very specific, and say, hey, I don't know, like, is there anyone that applies this, or we need to take a second look at because of this, right? Or it could be, hey, I've got this amazing class coming up, and this, right? Like, there's something different every day, or different every week, that you're campaigning, you're having cool conversations. So know kind of what you're going to talk about, something specific that, hey, listen, this is going to want them to have more. This is going to be like, hey, they're not just calling and promoting, but man, every time they call, they have something. It doesn't mean you have to go into something crazy. You don't have to fix their business. You don't have to, like, perform miracles, but is there something you could do to provide just a little bit of value, and a little bit of like, hey, you may want to call me back on this. I have this, right? And creating another hook. Campaigning, you should be campaigning for at least 12 weeks on these people, like boom, 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 impression. Like, they don't answer the phone. Take out your phone afterwards, after you call them, and shoot a video, right? I don't want to be on video. Get over yourself. Like, just look at the camera and shoot it and go. Oh my gosh, what if they don't respond? Guess what? By the way, we asked this question in Genius Loan Officer. If you do this with the group, what is a possible reason why they didn't respond to you? That is nothing to do with you. And think about all those reasons. There's a ton of reasons why they may not want to pull their phone back out, because they don't know what to say back, or they don't like to be on camera back. But could it be an impression, right? It's another impression to where they feel good about what's going on, about how this relationship's going to go, who you are, feeling you. There's a really feeling who you are as a loan officer, and more importantly, as a person. Like, all these impressions we can keep doing over and over and over, and it's campaigning, not just promoting. There's a huge difference. And if you have a problem with, if you have a problem with campaigning, like, and thinking, okay, I can't fall through with everybody, like, it's one, where is that bad messaging coming from? Like, where is that bad messaging coming from? Because there's coming from somewhere. Are you listening to bunk crap, to people that's never really sold at a high level, that's saying all the stuff, or you're going through social media and you see an ad that's like putting down ever talking to anybody? Is it you just don't feel like you have something to say? Well, that's fine. Maybe you need a coaching program. Say, hey, these are the things you could say. This is the way you can be different. This is how you can show up differently. This is how you can have different conversations. This is how you can call up in a cooler way. Like, but you have to follow through. You can't just have the meeting and go, oh my gosh, we've had this amazing meeting, and then it's in this business. Like, what's the possible reasons that has nothing to do with you, like you as a person, or any kind of put down on you as a person, that they may not transfer from you going to the meeting to sending you business? What's the possible reasons there? It could be that has nothing to do with you in a negative light. Well, it could be, listen, their other loan officer talked to him again, and had another conversation with him. Like, oh, I kind of feel guilty. I don't want to send this. They've not really been doing a good job, but I guess I'll try it again. It could be, hey, listen, it's a good impression you made. They kind of just forget about you being on the speed dial, because they're going by they're just going by habit, sending it to somebody, whatever it be. There's tons of reasons why, but when you're showing up cool. You have campaigns going, all these things that are cool, and hey, listen, I'm here for you and to provide value to you, because I am the value, and I don't have to have something extraordinary, but can I talk about something a little different? Can I say something a little different? Can I just get your mind to and your concepts to be just a little different? all these things that, hey, you may need help with that. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to do that. Well, guess what? If you're having meetings now and you're doing it at a regular basis now, before you give up on this, get help with it if you need help with it to transfer, because you're doing such an amazing job getting in front of people. Like this one gentleman's got, in front of like 70 people, 70 agents, and he's not getting a ton of business over, of course, it's been 3 months that he's been doing this. And so if you're doing that for 3 months and you're not, like, it's coming from one of these three, and it's no put down. It's like, this is great. All you got to do is shore up a few little things, because you're doing that activity before you give up on this activity of, oh my gosh, this doesn't work. It's, no, I've got to do things and show up differently. I've got to get right people. I've got to campaign to fall through in a different way. And when I do that, things are going to be good, and I'm going to feel blessed, and I'm going to have the right partnerships in place, and it's going to really just exponentially grow your business quickly, in a hurry. So those are 3 things. I want you to take care of that. And gosh, if you need help with that, we got freaking plenty of help with that are cool. That's different than anybody else that's doing in the marketplace. I can promise you that. So come in our walls and absolutely get that. But for now, start trying to take these action steps and get in your mind these 3 things, and it'll already start helping you. But if you really want to blow the cap off, I'm not just saying it because this is what I do. I spend money. Dallas and I and Genius Law Officer we got 3 different like business, just amazing analysts and that are working on our business too, that we get advice from, and we have blind spots. I'm like, okay, right. In our Genius Loan Officer game, we need it. We spend plenty of money on that, high level money on that. And so it's not just I'm saying to do it, like everybody needs this, and little tweaks, because sometimes those little tweaks, thinking of yourself a little differently, showing up a little differently in your meetings, is going to be the thing that just all of a sudden just blows the lid off. Because if you're working really hard, it's not that you need to work harder, it's that you have just little tweaks that can open up the whole game, and you can start hiring more people and making it easier on yourself and doing all these things that's going to really light you up, go on your vacations, have fun, and just bless your family, because you took a chance on yourself. You took that bull by the horns, and you absolutely grew your business. So, all right, that's all I got. You know the drill. Limit your risk equals limited income.